Align podcast. My name is Aaron Alexander, and typically this program is a place that we bring together the world's leading thought leaders on all things health and wellness to help y'all optimize your mind, body, and movement. And then occasionally we do these solo episodes, which is what today is. And it is based off of the questions that I get on Instagram and social media in general. But particularly Instagram, it's at Align Podcast if you want to reach out. What this is all about today is stress. And particularly, I get asked how I deal with stress. I think perhaps there could be the perception that I don't have a ton of it in my life, but that's ridiculous. I experience stress pretty much every day, and there's a handful of practices of sorts or activities that I'll do that I want to share with you all right now on how to unwind and relieve some of that stress. First thing that I think is relevant is telling the truth. So if you have any seeds of lies or any forms of deviance happening in your world with any individual, with yourself perhaps as well, each of those lies contain a certain level of energy. It's almost like they're like little living, breathing entities of sorts. And they will get bigger and larger as long as you don't face them. So the first thing that I would recommend as far as de-stressing is doing a little audit of yourself and just check in and make sure that you're being honest with any relationship that you have in your world, people in your business, your wife or your husband, obviously, your kids, and yourself, and see if there's any little shadows of deception happening in your world. And if they are, they will suck your psychological bandwidth, emotional bandwidth as well. It's all the same thing. And a really wise thing would be to nip those things in the bud. Tell the truth. Next thing that I would recommend is I found living below my means to be helpful. So if we are working on, I think this can be kind of a slippery subject, because then I think there is something to like manifestation and placing yourself in a larger shell and figuring out how to grow into it. But also I think it's very wise if stress is an issue and you are concerned about your bills and you are still spending money on things that you truly can't afford, oftentimes to impress other people that maybe you don't even really give a shit about, that will be stressful. And I think that your financial health and well-being is directly associated to your emotional health and well-being and physical health and well-being. And you can say spiritual maybe if you want to. I think money is just another form of energy. And the way that you conduct yourself within that will trickle into the rest of your life. So how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you are spending beyond your means as a way of impressing people, that will be an underlying layer of stress. And what people will see, you might trick some, but people will see underneath that is a stressed human organism buying crap as a means of impressing people, but actually underneath all of that facade is a stressed out being. So I prefer to live under my means. That's my preference. Live simply. Get rid of the stuff. Each thing that you own is like a form of psychological real estate that you have to occupy. So look around your world and see, is there anything that I don't actually use in this space? Is it just kind of sitting there taking up space and collecting cobwebs and I got to clean it and take care of it and all that? If you have that, get rid of it. Do minimalism, in my opinion. If you're experiencing stress, clear your stuff out. Maybe even get rid of your clothes. Do a new wardrobe. Get a new haircut. Shake up your snow globe somehow. So that gets into, in regards to shaking up your snow globe, exercise. So that's something that I will do every day. And whether it's like going for a run, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's going surfing, going skateboarding, going just anything, just going for a walk. As I do any type of like business meetings, or oftentimes I'll try to schedule even interviews. I'll try and see if I can finagle it that I can do it while I'm on the phone. and just go for a walk outside. I will be oftentimes barefoot, doing the whole grounding thing. Oftentimes I have my shirt off. People might see me here in Santa Monica, California sometimes. Actually, I get messages sometimes on the Instagram. So there's a good chance you will see me shirtless, barefoot, walking down Santa Monica and be on the phone doing that de-stress thing while I'm actually doing work. So how can you stack variables while you are at work so that you can be purging stress while you're in that space that may hypothetically be creating stress? It just needs to be a regular purgative experience throughout the day. So I go on regular walks. I regularly expose my skin and my eyes to sun. I will regularly pay attention to breath. So breath is a powerful tool for you to be able to access your autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system being like the part that we think we don't have control of. You've got a lot of control over your autonomic nervous system. You can change your environmental factors, which will end up spilling in and changing the way that you feel and produce your internal chemistry. Breath is a powerful one. An exercise you can do is emphasize the breath out. So as you take a deep breath in, I have this in the Align Method book. So deep breath in for 4 seconds. We'll do it right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in, and then hold for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to breathe out for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then repeat that. You repeat that 5, 6 times. The emphasis is on that breath out. You could even add an audible sound like a for 6 seconds. And all of that is going to be stacking variables on unwinding that stressed out nervous system of yours. So exhalation accesses more of that parasympathetic side of the nervous system. And then adding sound on top of that, humming is shown to increase nitric oxide in the blood, helpful with circulation. And it's very helpful with purging stress. Once again, doing a little sound therapy with yourself. So that's a really helpful thing. There's another practice that I have in the book called Brahmari Pranayama, which is pretty freaking ridiculous to look at, but feels pretty great. And I'll go through like the real simple basics of it. If you're ever having a stress freak out moment, something you see little kids do, actually. This is essentially where it comes from, I think. In India, whatever, but you see a little kid do this. They will cover their eyes, cover their ears, essentially putting themselves in a sensory deprivation moment, and then from there taking a deep breath in and then humming out and doing that until you have all of your air out, all the way so you're just a completely empty vacuum. And as you're humming, you could go in different tones. You could go high, you could go low, and explore different tones, and you could literally start to feel that reverberation starting to affect different parts of your body. Higher ones, you'll probably feel a little bit higher up in like your skull. Lower ones, you'll start to feel kind of like lower in like the kind of basier pelvic floor, abdomen type territory. So that's a very fascinating thing that you can play with. Another thing to help unwind that stress of the day that is valuable is obviously meditation. But I think everything we're describing now is a form of meditation, but just giving yourself even 5 minutes of kind of helping alleviate the bind or hold that your repetitive thought patterns have on you, and just stepping aside for a moment to be able to observe those thought patterns can start to decompress power from those guys. So that's something that I would recommend. You can incorporate breath into that. You can incorporate a mantra if you want. I like Ram Dass's I Am Loving Awareness. So you can just sit on a cushion, get yourself an upright spine. We have all this stuff in the Align Method online program. There's also a 7-day free trial for that guy as well. So you just go to alignpodcast.com/Align Method, ALIGN method. And we have full breakdown of all this stuff in there. You could also start the 5-day movement challenge, which gets into floor sitting. And obviously the book, the Align Method book, goes extra deep into all this stuff. So sitting in meditation is a great thing. You could do that literally any time, though. You could do that while you're driving. You could do that while you're out for a walk. All those would be great times. And then along with that, I think meditation, something that can come up is, for me, is FOMO. FOMO is stressful. I would say F FOMO. I don't feel like swearing in this solo episode, but F FOMO. It's a very important thing. Enjoy your time with yourself. Relish those moments that you have with yourself, because you have a whole beautiful internal world that you have access to, and it's great in there. It's just sometimes we got to get beyond some of the clouds and give ourselves that spaciousness in order to see, this is getting all metaphorical, but in order to see that blue sky behind. And sometimes just sitting with yourself and allowing that static of those clouds, of those thoughts that seem to be in complete control of us, if we just sit and observe and passively watch those guys move through and really give it some time and make it a regular practice, I think what you will find is you have a whole beautiful world that you don't even need to leave your house to go to some drunk party or whatever. There's actually a lot going on inside of you. And then as you cultivate that world inside of you, then I think you become a more magnetic person to be around, because very few people, I don't know, maybe not very few people, but I think it's a rare thing in modern culture to not be kind of like dependent on that going out in order to get your jollies. I think there's a lot of goodness to be dug up within yourself. And then from there, that person that does that, they're pretty interesting to be around. So you're kind of like filling up your cup in that alone time. Last thing that I would say is, maybe almost last thing. One, screen time. If you're staring into your screen a lot, that is stressful. When you are shortening your vision and looking up close inside closed walls, underneath artificial lights as well. Artificial lights are stressful because they're on an alternating current. It's kind of like a flipping, like a disco light, flip, 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 flip. So when you are under LED lights and all that stuff, it's literally that light is it's agitative to your nervous system. So get natural light, full spectrum light that you get from the sun. It's almost like you're getting like a light hug when you are underneath the LEDs and all that stuff. It's almost like you're getting like a light pitter patter punch in the face repeatedly over and over again. So go out and get yourself a nice light hug from the sun. And then along with that, obviously, it's your eyes. So looking out into the distance using your panoramic vision. So look out, just relax your eyes if you're inside of a room and kind of like allow them to kind of go blurry for a bit, spacing out essentially. And then also look out windows with regularity. Put your workstation near a window so you can look out and relax those ciliary muscles, relax all those muscles around the lens of the eye. When you relax the muscles of the eye by using your panoramic vision, it indicates to your nervous system that it's time to calm the freak down. And you feel safe, and you're just in this observation mode. And so then you go into more of that rest, digest, heal type place. There's a whole chapter in the book about sight, and I'll have a podcast coming up. My man, Dr. Andrew Huberman as well, which is very exciting. I think we're good. There's other things. Social engagement is a big deal as well. So outside of just effing FOMO, I think also going and being around people, taking a dance class, acro yoga could be a thing, any type of like group fitness where you're engaging with people. Social engagement is one of the fastest ways to jump your nervous system up into a healing state. So if you are stressed the freak out, or if you are in more of almost like a disassociated, immobilized type state in your nervous system, a great way to bring you back into a healthy baseline is literally just any form of social engagement. Ideally, you can stack some variables there and incorporate touch into that as well. Incorporate more variables and make it be outside, make it be under the sun. Incorporate some exercise into that. Play with breath along with that. And then you have a purgative, stress-reducing stew that you're swimming in. So that's it. I hope that this is helpful for some people. This is how I address stress in my life. Also, probably cut out caffeine for a while, see how that affects things. If you are feeling really stressed, maybe it's not the time to drink more coffee. Instead, get some magnesium supplements, drink some herbal teas, stuff like that could be a helpful thing. The big thing is just move that body of yours. Essentially think of almost like you are a rag and you're rinsing that stress out of your body through that movement. Social engagement is a big thing. And then the opposite side of that spectrum is meditation and introspection. I think living below your means, so you don't have that financial burden, and also at the same time maintaining a vision of what you want to create, building into that. Progress is a big thing. Make sure that you're making regular progress. Track that stuff, whether it's your fitness, or whether it's your business, or whether it's your relationships, anything. I think tracking progress is very valuable. It makes you have a sense of control. All right, I think that's it. Boodly boodly bam. Hopefully this is a helpful solo episode. It's how I address stress. And if you get any nuggets out of this, that's great. If not, it's all good. I really appreciate y'all leaving reviews on iTunes. It's so helpful. I read every single one, and I really love it. It's awesome. That's how the algorithmic gods of iTunes and Google know people are listening to this podcast, and then they share it around. Thanks for grabbing the Align Method book. It's been a #1 bestseller on Amazon, thankfully. And so people have been really loving that. Thanks for the reviews on that thing. And thanks for doing the Align Method online program. If you're feeling achy, stiff, rigid, brain foggy, any of that stuff in your body, then you're not loving forward head posture, roll forward shoulders, hunched over spine, any of that stuff. The Align Method online program, 7-day free trial, and it gets into all those things, that and more. Gets into morning routines, nighttime routines, lifestyle stuff. It's a really great time. So that's all at alignpodcast.com, ALIGNpodcast.com. And it's also in the bio at Align Podcast on Instagram. If you liked anything from this conversation, you want your people to hear it, take a little screenshot and share this thing on your social media and tag Align Podcast. All right, here we go. Well, here I go. I'm going to leave now. I'm going to go to the gym, actually, and purge some stress. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you this coming Monday with an interview with someone fantastic.